targets and the involvement of local government. ISA deals with all levels of projects from local up to national SOEs, so it does include local government projects. We have a whole program on provincial leads that are involved in the different provinces, not only dealing with the provincial departments and provincial projects, but also dealing with local government. So definitely the DDM is part and parcel of our focus. It's also, I think, important to note that currently, we deal with mega projects, so it's only those projects that exceed 1 billion rand of value in order to manage the level of projects we are dealing with. So some of the smaller local government projects will not necessarily be within the scope of ISA's involvement and will not necessarily be recorded by ISA. And then, Chair, I think you also referred to the issue of the construction industry that remains a concern. I think it's important to note that the department under the leadership of Minister also is busy with a construction industry recovery plan that is also looking at a specific approach how to address the issue of the construction industry and how to make sure that construction industry gets to the levels it was previously, so that we can also start seeing positive growth in that sector in the GDP. I think Prof is back. I've covered the questions that was posed to me directly. So DDG, do you want to take over? I'm not sure if Prof is back. Thanks, Minister.
Thank you.
Can we then allow the DDGs to respond, Minister, if you are happy with that?
Yes, please, Chairperson, they may proceed. I think Professor Ramakgopa has got some connection problems that we are trying to sort out now. The DGGs can proceed.
It looks like they also have a connectivity problem, Honorable Minister.
Chair, can I come in now? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, Minister. I want to apologize to you, DM, and the Chair and the members. I have a difficulty of connectivity. I'm trying my phone. I apologize. So on the Mzimvubu, I'm happy to report that we had gone out to the debt capital markets about 3 months ago. Now we're at the stage of contract negotiations. DWS, Department of Water and Sanitation, arrived at the preferred bidder status, and we hope that by the end of September we have concluded the process of the contract negotiations. And then parallel to that, there's also discussions with National Treasury because of the magnitude of the investment, the fact that the money is raised in the debt capital market, so there has to be with National Treasury just to understand the terms and conditions of the project, because it's a 10-key project, so the successful bidder provides both the financial solution, including the technical engineering solution. I must state that the phase work we're looking at now is on the construction of the 2 big dams. So the progress report that has been referred to in our report refers to the internal services that are part of the Mzimvubu complex. So we are confident that by end of September, we should have arrived at the conclusion of contract negotiations, and then there can be announcement of a contract that is in place and the service provider that can take a site and start with the construction. And on the small harbors, it's true that we're working on a business case. So we're working with the Chinese government through the Chinese embassy as part of a package of agreements that the DERCO has struck with the Chinese government, is that they are providing grant facility for us to be able to develop the small harbors. There has been considerable delays in relation to this program because of COVID and the strict restrictions of movement in China. But about 3 weeks ago, we received a delegation, a technical delegation from China. These are engineering experts who have worked on some of the major harbors around the world, and in particular in China, to ensure that they contribute meaningfully to the economic development of the spaces where these harbors are found. So on the Council of Ministers in DM, they insisted that the ministry insisted that there has to be a pairing of technical expertise. So essentially, it's not just the Chinese expertise that are coming to the country to advise us on the design and construction of these small harbors, who must develop internal capacity. We have made that technical expertise available. I think it's about 11 of our engineers that are working with the Chinese technical team on the design and delivery of the small harbors. The minister in the DM have done a number of visits to many of these harbors. Some of them are already in development, and the ones I'm referring to should come on stream in the next few months. I mean, I'm saying the next few months because the business case will then provide, amongst others, the timelines for delivery. And yes, I want to confirm that Port St. John's is one of those small harbors. So when we say business case, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're developing just an exclusively commercial case, but we're also developing an engineering case to see to what extent can the development of the harbor enhance economic activity where these harbors are found. So the identification of the harbors has happened. The Chinese have visited these harbors and they've come back to confirm to us to say that those harbors are good candidates for development. So we're developing that business case. I must say the business case, at least on the version of the Chinese, should not be more than 3 months. And then we should be able to report to the minister and the GM and provide the timelines for delivery. And of course, we hope that coming back to this committee, we should be able to share the details of the timelines going forward. And then on the matter of the NIP, so what the member was referring to, so remember I said there are 2 tracks to the development of the National Infrastructure Plan. We did National Infrastructure Plan 2050, phase 1. So there we're focusing on what we call foundational network infrastructure. So that's water, freight transport, energy, and ICT infrastructure. The timelines that you are referring to is for the NIP phase 1. So that exercise was done. We went out public consultation in terms of the gazetted timelines. We got the feedback to enhancing the NIP, and then Minister Dilil then took it back to Cabinet for approval. So NIP phase 1 is done, has been approved. So departments are working on NIP phase 1, its delivery, to the extent that it affects them. So that's water, freight, transport, energy, and ICT infrastructure. So what we are doing now, the timelines that the DG Masemola was sharing with the committee refers to NIP phase 2. So that is human settlement, social infrastructure, what we call distributed network infrastructure, water, roads, and roads in this instance, we're talking to municipal roads, provincial roads, and also passenger rail. Remember the first phase, we focus on freight, now we're focusing on passenger rail. So what she was sharing with you are the timelines in relation to phase 2 of the NIP. So what the member was referring to were the timelines in relation to phase 1. That's done and dusted, it has been approved. So what we are doing now is phase 2 of the NIP. So, Minister, I'll leave it there, and Chair, I'm sure my colleagues will add on aspects that relates directly to what they presented. Thanks, Chair.
Thanks, Prof.
Chair, if I may come in.
Yes, Tshepo, can come in.
Yes, it's just on two aspects because I think most of the responses that I had, Prof. Ramkopa has responded to them. It's on the phase one, Valhamahara. You said that we are still having an outstanding project plan for phase two, but what is happening on phase one? So the phase one of the project is almost complete. From our record, it's 98% complete. It was supposed to be completed some time back, but there were challenges from the lockdown because work had to be suspended at site, and also the discussions which were happening between the municipality and DWS in terms of approving variation orders. But now, at our current reporting, we are 98% complete, and we're expecting practical completion in the next quarter. Then there was also a question around Hull Street in terms of where it is on procurement. So the project currently it's still in procurement. There has been request for an extension of time because it has been approved for funding, but there was no drawdown. So there have been motivations to extend the drawdown to September 2022 for it to start drawing on the financial facility that it has to start construction. So those are the two updates on the project. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Tshepo.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. If I can just conclude with some of the questions that were asked around the National Infrastructure Plan as well. Professor Ramokgopa has responded to Honorable Rayi's question around the timelines, but there was also another question about the extent to which there is implementation of some of the targets that have been indicated in the National Infrastructure Plan phase one. And their specific reference was made to the rail and ports related issues of Transnet, as well as the creation of a National Water Resource Agency by the DWS. So in terms of that, let me take us back to February of this year. So the DPME, the Department of Performance and Monitoring and Evaluation, they're responsible for coordinating, managing the devolved national government departments, the development of those APPs. We had worked with the DPME to look at those draft APPs and see and almost like check whether the issues that have been identified in the NIP phase one are actually captured or included in those APPs of the various government departments. And insofar as the Department of Transport is concerned, absolutely. So the issues related to your the TMR, the introduction of third-party operators, etc., all that is now captured in the draft, the National Rail Policy of the Department of Transport. And really there, even our assessment of that policy is that it is very much aligned with the requirements or that which is indicated and included in the National Infrastructure Plan. So whether it is around the establishment of the transport economic regulator, etc., all of those have been included in the plans or in the draft policy, as well as the annual performance plans of the Department of Transport. The same goes also for the Department of Water and Sanitation. So there is currently a bill. That bill is called the National Water Resource Infrastructure Agency Bill. It was approved by the DG's cluster sometime in May or early June, and the department was intending to publish this draft bill for public consultation. And essentially that bill is responding to the issues of ensuring that the current national water resources and infrastructure base is properly managed and maintained, and that they can be able, the government is able to leverage funding to develop the infrastructure as required by both the National Infrastructure Plan as well as the National Water Master Plan. So all of that is work that is ongoing, and as indicated in the NIP, is the actions that the NIP directs various government departments to undertake in the short to medium term, meaning between 1 and 3 years, that these are some of the action items that needs to be undertaken by the various government departments to ensure that there is an accelerated infrastructure investment in the country, and that the projects, the infrastructure pipeline must support the realization of the Vision 2050 in relation to those. So just to indicate that part of the work that we do of ensuring that the current NIP, as approved by Cabinet, is being implemented, is to work very closely with the DPME to ensure that those targets get to be translated into the various APPs of other government departments, because ISA itself is not an implementer of these projects. So I think the others, they were also more of inputs and guidance from the committee. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Chairperson. Honorable Matebula.
With your permission, Chair, I would like to give the Minister the details of the project for that infrastructure before you close, Chair. Minister, it's the Zumeri Mopani Wem processing project that was started in 2006. It's in Ward 25 in Greater Giyani Municipality in Mopani in Limpopo. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Matebula. For those details, you could even write them on the chat so that in an event the Minister has missed that, they can pick the information from the chat. Is there any follow-up questions that honorable members would want to make, if I may ask? Looks like the honorable members are happy with the inputs that were the inputs and responses that were given to question. Honorable Khai?
No,
yes, Honorable Khai?
No, thanks for the responses and also the clarification on the phases of the NIP 2050. I had asked a question about the progress with regard to the rural bridges. I don't know if there was a response with regard to that, because in the report it talks about per quarter there will be 24 rural bridges that will be done. So I just wanted a progress information with regard to that.
Thank you. Maybe just also addition to that, it will be additional. Just on one of the projects pipeline, the student accommodation. Look, the issue of student accommodation has been identified as a niche also by the private sector, and given the demand supply mismatch, this demand supply mismatch has the potential of increasing student accommodation cost as it has a potential also to then leave out the needy students with poor accommodation. What I want to check is as to whether because this will definitely have an effect in terms of the student accommodation cost, and it will also have a rippling effect in terms of the NSFAS allocation. What I want to check from the team is, the Minister, is there any interaction between the department and the Department of Higher Education, particularly with regard to increasing the role that the Department of Higher Education can play in terms of increasing budget allocation for this, so that we mitigate the propensity of the private sector optimizing more profit because of the lack of supply of accommodation, which has an impact on the student, particularly from the poor. The second one is on the issue of Bukubai project. One of the critical point there is just a proposal in terms of interacting with both Ports Authority, and also the DPME, just to also look in terms of the railway link between Hotazel and developing a Hotazel rail link from Hotazel to Bukubai. Obviously, to link probably with other, whether it is Sishen or whether it is with Keinart. The importance of this point, Honorable Minister, is informed by the fact that the rail is mainly dominated by the bigger players, and this leaves the emerging black manganese players and also the iron ore players in this region to mainly explore truck logistics to transport this, and it has a devastating impact in terms of the status of our roads. Maybe could be one of the projects that, as part of Bukubai, it could be linked into, because definitely there will be opportunities in terms of practical options to transport manganese for exports. But I think this area must not be left outside the planning purposes. Thank you, Minister. Over to you.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. Just on the rural bridges, we have assembled 24 teams that will work concurrently on all the rural bridges. There has been a delay in the allocation of the funding from National Treasury, from the budget facility for infrastructure. We've been able to unlock that about 2 weeks ago. The money has now become available, and from the next month or so, we'll be able to report on all the rollout of all the bridges across the country. That's in the Eastern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal and Mpumalanga, the Free State, and also the Northwest. So that is where we are with the rural bridges. And like I said, that the KZN, because of the floods, there is a need for further 18 bridges, and that the province of KZN has also made funding available for the extra bridges in KZN. In our next reporting to the NCOP Portfolio Committee, we will be able to give more detail, a breakdown of where we are with progress. But we are trying everything in our power to meet the deadline of implementing the 96 bridges before the next State of the Nation address. Just also on Bukubai, Dr. Ramakgopa can give more detail there. But on the 26th of August, the president will be visiting the one project in Priska, where ISA is also coordinating the implementation of that regarding the hydrogen power electricity. So I'll ask Professor Ramakgopa. I must not get used to this, Prof. My apologies. I said to him, Honorable Chair, I will get used to it once we had some celebration. Then I remember the celebration and the name. So Professor Ramakgopa can give us further detail on that. Also on the student accommodation, the infrastructure fund did make a contribution of 3.5 billion rand there. And we're working with the DBSA on that program. Professor, over to you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you very much, Chair. Just on Boegoebaai, about a week ago, Transnet has gone out, called for proposals in relation to the most optimal design of Boegoebaai. Remember, we have to resolve the issue of how we get the resources, the mineral resources to the port. We have done two computations. The first one is that we can use the existing infrastructure to bring the minerals by road. Obviously, you need to breach a particular threshold of volumes for the port to make a commercial sense. So what the call for proposal is doing is to see at which point do we connect to the existing rail, so that we're able to have easy access to Boegoebaai there in Port Nolloth. So the project is up and running. We have had an extensive discussion with the Transnet at the CEO level, of course, with Minister Godan, and directed on our side by Minister Delil. So Boegoebaai will also, as part of that solutioning, say how best do we accommodate the small miners operators so that they get to benefit from the infrastructure, so that they get to reach markets that are attractive outside the shores of the country. So Boegoebaai resolves those questions. So the planning is that we should be able to come with a more fixed approach on how we are going to deliver Boegoebaai in the next 6 months. So they've gone out for call for proposals, closes within a month, and in 6 months' time, they come back with a solution on the best way of connecting to the existing rail, so that we get access to the port itself. And then on the student accommodation, Minister is correct. We're working with the Department of Higher Education. Remember, Chair, I did make the point that we don't conceive of the project. So the sponsoring departments, the mandate departments are the ones who approach us and say, we need technical assistance on this and that project. Of course, the student accommodation program has been running for a considerable period of time. We are now entering phase 2 of the delivery of that program. And it's one of the most best performing programs that we are working on, of course, through the infrastructure fund. So the reason why you have the infrastructure fund involved is because, by definition, the infrastructure fund is meant to provide a blended financing mechanism and ensure that it de-risks the project. So essentially, it makes it possible for us to bridge the funding gap, the financing gap, between what the National Department of Higher Education is making available through NSFAS as a component for student accommodation, and what the commercial market requires for the investment to be attractive to them. So we're breaching that gap so that you don't place the burden on the student. You find that there's a funding gap from NSFAS with regards to student accommodation, so that it becomes attractive for the private sector to participate. So we're entering the second phase of that program. So we are confident about its delivery, and the fact that it won't overburden the fiscus and it won't transfer the burden on the user, especially poor students. So that's why we are financing it through the infrastructure fund. Thank you very much, Minister.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Minister. I take that, honorable members, comfortable in terms of the responses that were given, but also Honorable Matibula has done as requested likewise in terms of giving more details about that Mopani home project. Let me then, without any waste of time, then take this opportunity to indeed express a word of gratitude to the Minister in terms of detailed briefing that we have received as a committee. Indeed, we are much more smarter than when we started, in the sense that we are in a much more better position to share in terms of the conceptual approach as led by the Minister and the team, both in terms of the infrastructure investment and performance, the rollout of the infrastructure investment plan, the progress made with regard to SIP and the highlights, the work done by the infrastructure fund in terms of those pipeline. But more than that, the progress that we are making with regard to NIP2, the National Infrastructure Plan 2050 Phase 2, where you were able to outline key sectors. But lastly, summary of key infrastructure, the high-level work program. We are much more in a better position to articulate the details and even the modalities, the tempo in terms of where you fit in, and the space provided by the sectoral department in terms of spearheading their sectoral plans. We are much more clearer, and we want to then indeed give over to the Minister just the last word before we allow the Minister and the team to exit. Over to you, Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Chair, honourable members. Honourable Chair, certainly I think that we will also extend an invitation to you and members of the committee that when we do our oversight in terms of visiting these projects to join us. We do also in some of the projects invite the president, because we only go to projects where they are already on the ground. You can see the foundation, you can see the workers. So I would like to extend that invitation to you, Chairperson, and the members, and we will let you know about the next visit. Like I'm saying, the president will be visiting a project in Priska on the 26th of August to go and see progress there. But although we would like to see much more progress and faster progress, infrastructure by its nature is a very complex portfolio. And the projects that we are responsible for to monitor, we have been able to do things differently from the way it used to be in the past. And the technical skills that infrastructure South Africa has put together is at the disposal of any government department and any sphere of government. ISA working very closely with all the provincial governments, where the premiers are leading the input on infrastructure. And we can only improve going forward, Chairperson. And then also my thank you to the Deputy Minister and Professor Ramakgopa Chairperson, until next time when we come back with another feedback to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister and your team. You can now exit the meeting as we do our in-house work that we need to finalize. Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, the last matter on the agenda will be the minutes of the last meeting, and then probably just an update. I think we'll take advantage of Sopeka just to give us an update of where we are in terms of program of next week. Can we have the minutes, Shet? Thank you, Enrico. The minutes of the meeting of the 3rd of August, where we had a briefing from the Department of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, just to appreciate its mandate and functions. Those are the attendees of the meeting. The next our guest, and then the parliamentary team, issues that were covered, and the apologies. Those are the issues that were covered by the presentation in terms of the mandate, the core functions, the vision, missions, and values, strategic plan impact statements and outcomes, and the priorities of the MTSF, and the inputs that were made by members, concerns that were raised. Those are the issues. And then we dealt with the other business, our oversight visit in terms of the international program or international study taught Malaysia, Indonesia, and China. So those are the issues that we dealt with. Any correction that honorable members would want to make on these issues in the minutes? In the absence of any corrections, can we then get a mover for the adoption of the minutes as a true reflection of what transpired on the 3rd of August 2022? Presentation from the DPME.
Honorable Chair, I would like to move for the adoption of the minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Can we get a seconder? Seconder.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson and honorable members. I second the adoption of the minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Mashodi, for seconding the move to adopt the minutes. Therefore, the minutes are duly adopted. Honorable Chair? Was it Honorable
Chair?
Yes, Honorable Rayi?
No, I just wanted to suggest that because the department is new, it was given to us after the APPs have been tabled. I know it's already late now for the APPs because they are meant for budget vote debates. But I wanted to suggest that still we should find maybe a space in the program to have the APP of the department tabled so that we familiarize ourselves with their programs. Yeah, so I just wanted to suggest that. I know it's very late for the IPPs, but because there's no other way that we'll be able to meet with the departments. We can't meet them on their annual report because it has not tabled a APP, and therefore we can monitor how it has performed in terms of the implementation of the APP. So I just wanted to make that suggestion if the committee agrees. Thanks.
Thank you, Honorable Rayi. It's a good move. We'll then in our program, if honorable members agree with that, ensure that we factor them in, because it will also put us in a much more better position in terms of even the work that we do over our sister departments, because it will put us at a much more informed level. So let's agree on that. And then any update on the trip, Hubert?
Thank you, Chairperson. What we can update members this afternoon is that we've finalized all the administrative processes. The members will be receiving their e-tickets later today. And also, well, I will also request Enrico, if there's any other information that you want to share with members, more especially in terms of logistics. This is also the time. But that's what at least I can report so far, Chair, that it's all system goes.
Beautiful. I think that's good. Anything, Enrico? Means Enrico is sorted out. So then I think let's agree that we will then meet next week. I saw a correspondence it's a request from Transnet. I think maybe the chair can probably just give us an update on that. There's a request from Transnet in terms of our program. But I thought maybe the chair will have a much more better position to share with us. Honorable High?
No, it doesn't belong to our committee. It belongs to the other committee, Communication and Public Enterprises.
Okay.
Yes, Transnet.
Great.
Yeah. So I won't know that particular correspondent what it says. I haven't received it here, but beside it, it is not part of our committee.
Okay. The other thing that probably I wanted to bounce, some of from the projects that we received, I'm not sure. I just saw one of the projects that we want to visit in debate. Looks like it's still at design level. You must just check that, and then probably when we meet, give us an update. I think there's one project that is still at the designed level. There's no expenditure on it. It might need us to revisit it. One of the projects that we are visiting in debate. It's something that I saw. Can you say a word on that?
Chairperson, I will have to go back with the team, especially myself and Tshepo. Then we can all communicate with members.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you. Then let me then take this opportunity, honorable members, to express a word of thanks to all of you for making this meeting a success, and also to our team from Committee Secretary, the researcher, and also the communication team for ensuring that preparations are well to allow this meeting to take place successfully. So let's then agree to meet on Monday. Monday, Tuesday.
No, actually, we'll meet on Monday.
On Monday, great.
Traveling Monday, so we'll meet on Monday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Members, therefore, the meeting stands adjourned.
Thank you very much.
When Monday?
Goodbye. At the hotel.
Recording stopped.
Thank you.
Thank you.